Hello everybody, welcome to Totally Tabled. My name is Shaggy, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. You see, I have this pretty massive board game collection, which I don't think is a good thing, by the way. Quite the opposite. It's more like a sickness. But anyway, I started thinking about all these games in my collection, which will probably never make it onto Totally Tabled. With that in mind, I've created a new series, the In My Collection series. These are going to be more casual videos with me here at the table checking out some of the more esoteric and overlooked games in my collection. I thought it might be fun to start by checking out the soloable game in my collection that is the least owned, according to stats on Board Game Geek. I apparently played this game like 9 years ago, but I have no memory of that, so this is going to be like a journey of discovery for all of us. The name of the game is Frontier Stations. Now this one currently shows that it's owned by 241 Board Game Geek users. Obviously that isn't everyone who owns the game, but for a little bit of context, Catan shows that it's owned by 198,000 people. Wingspan shows that it's owned by 133,000 Board Game Geek users, and we know that that sold something like 1.5 million or maybe even 2 million. So obviously these numbers are going to be a little skewed, right? Board Game Geek users are a small percentage of the overall hobby. But when it comes to these, obscure indie board games, like Frontier Stations, the Board Game Geek users probably make up a much larger percentage of the overall owners, as opposed to like mega hits like Wingspan that have filtered out into the mainstream more. I doubt a lot of non-Board Game Geek users have a huge library of Victory Point games, lying around. Now, if you're not familiar with Victory Point games, they used to do a lot of war games, I believe, but they had some big titles as well, like Nemo's War, Dawn of the Zeds, that sort of thing. They were known for having really interesting games, but not exactly great production values, particularly by today's standards. As you can see here on the side of the box, it even says, the gameplay's the thing, which is a nice way of saying our components are crap. And so they'd come in these cheap boxes with, these like sleeves on them. Another warning here to not expect much inside this box. Now, I'm curious about this cover here, because we got a strategy game here. We have a gold banner game. No idea what that means. And then here on the back, I'm immediately confused. We have 60 to 90 minutes, 3 to 6 players, complexity 3, solitaire 5. So we have a 3 to 6 player game that plays well solitaire. Clearly we have a cooperative game here. Still a weird player count. Why not 2? Why not 1 to 6? I don't know. Well, I guess we'll find out. Reading the back, it says, work together to defend a ring of frontier space stations against a variety of growing dangers. Upgrade your systems wisely by maintaining a steady flow of the vital resources you'll need to survive, and allocate them carefully to keep nearby threats in check. Frontier Stations is a game for 3 to 6 players, united in their confrontation against an onslaught of perils from within and without. Each player must build up their frontier station, making it better able to deal with a wide variety of threats and function optimally in union with its 2 neighboring stations. Okay, interesting. So that gives us a hint of why it's 3 to 6 players. We probably need 3 stations and adjacency matters in some way. This actually sounds pretty encouraging. Another thing that's encouraging me is on the Board Game Geek page, this was reviewed by The Discriminating Gamer and previewed by Ricky Royal of Box of Delights 9 years ago. So who knows, maybe we have something interesting here. Let's crack it open. Ooh, okay. And yes, I've definitely gotten my hands on this before, because look at this. I've got my nice fancy containers here. And the cards are sleeved and everything. Wow. A nice paper rule book here. And a paper playmat. Extremely cheap. And flimsy. Now we have a load of tokens here. This is bringing back memories of Victory Point games because their little counters and tokens were all like laser cut, and they'd all be like incredibly sooty and, you know, smell like a campfire. Yep, that's bringing back some memories. Okay, so I got everything set up here, and I've perused through the rulebook a little bit. This actually looks pretty cool. It's a little bit like Machi Koro. We're set up like a 3-player game here. Have the captain card, I go first. All you do is you roll the die. Okay, a 5, that's not very good. Or actually, it's good in some ways. So we look at this number here on our card. We only start with these Nexus cards, and this would activate on a 1 or a 2. And if we had rolled a 1 or a 2, we could activate it and produce any of the 5 different resources. Now we start with 4 of them. We're missing an energy, but we have all the rest. And you can see down here, you have to store the resources that you get. And so we have storage here for 1 of each. Now, the first thing we would check after rolling is we would activate any threats that were in our threat area, which we don't have at the beginning of the game. We would then generate based on, you know, our stations, but none of us are going to generate on a 5. And now the active player, they get to do 1 purchase, or rather 1 improvement, which could be purchasing one of these cards up here in the market. It could be improving a card you already have by putting like a ×2 on it, which is basically just doubling that card. It's as if you have multiple versions of the card. And you can go to 2, you can go to 3, all the way up to 5, it looks like, or maybe even, yeah, up to 5. Or if there were threats out here, you could try to deal with those threats as part of the improvement. So you're either improving by getting a card, multiplying a card, or taking care of a threat. And the number you roll is basically how many credits you have to spend on a card. So since we rolled a 5, we can afford anything out here because the cost is up there in the corner. Now, if you wanted to buy something, say we had rolled a 2 and we wanted to buy one of these cards that cost a 3, we'd have to spend an energy for the difference. And we don't have any energy at the moment. Let's say I grab this focusing lens. Cost is 3, so we're covered. And you can see here, it's going to activate on a 4, 6, or an 8. Obviously, can't roll an 8 with only 1 die, but once we get through the early threats and we go on to the late threats, we'll be rolling 2 dice. The dots up there are just showing like the likelihood of it producing. We're going to produce an energy by doing that. We can hold 4 energy, and it has a special ability which will let us spend 2 energy in place of one of these securities. Then at the end of your turn, you draw a threat and put it on the left side of your station. And so this threat can now be handled by this player and the player over here. This is cool. Hallucinations. It will activate on a 1 or an 8. So right now, just a 1. And in order to deal with the threat, when it activates, we'll have to spend a security. Now, if we can't deal with a threat ever, we lose the game. So now it goes to this player's turn. Roll the die. Ooh, a 1. Wow, okay, so Hallucinations activates right away because of the 1. Either player can spend the security in order to deal with it. So let's just say we will. The captain sort of breaks the tie. Hey, we're playing a solo game, so we can decide. Also, because of our special ability here on this card, we can cover security with energy, so better for us to spend. You can see down here, if we want to destroy this hallucination, it's going to cost 4 and one of these red medical resources. But that activated. Any threat with a 1 would activate. Now we generate based on the 1, and all of us will, not just the active player. So these two, they can only hold an energy. So they're going to obviously choose an energy. I could hold an energy or a security. Let's Let's do an energy, actually. Now, this player can purchase something, but they only have a 1 and this energy that they could spend. So it would have to be a max of 2. They wouldn't be able to deal with this hallucination. Maybe they'll go stasis pod here. And we got the 1 plus the 1 energy. That'll cover the 2 cost. And then they have to draw a threat. And this threat is going to be like to their left. So it's going to be between these 2 players. I'll just put it up here. So that's going to activate on a 5 and a 12. Now this player's turn. Okay, rolled a 1 again. Hallucination activates. So we'll play that security. They actually can't store anything. I think I'll go security just in case this activates again. Yeah, we'll just do double security. Like that. This is a 2, 4, and 6 activation. This is a 4, 6, and 8. So nothing else activates. And the only thing this player can afford is this right here. Or they could sort of double their nexus. That could be something that they could do. But they're going to get this arms locker for free. Boom, the plague. Oh, and I already made a mistake here. We shouldn't be refilling the shop here. So let's pretend like we didn't refill that. It comes back around to this player's turn who has the captain card. They're going to take another turn before passing this. So let's roll again. Ooh, a 2. Okay. Hey. None of the threats activate. So that was a good roll. We have the Nexus here, but no room. No room. They have room for an energy. And look at this. The stasis pod activates on a 2, so gets another energy. And you can see down here they can store 5. And now we could purchase. We did a 2. This costs 3, so let's spend an energy. Get that. And now as the captain, as we've played a full round plus an extra turn, we now pass the captain card to the next player. We would then discard any cards that were in the shop and then refill. And it's always a number of players plus 1. Oh, and I need to do a threat. Boom. So as you can see, the threats start to slowly build up, and we're going to have to start using our improvements to get rid of these threats. But that's pretty much it. Just keep doing that. See here. Oh, 3. This guy activates. This guy can spend it. And wow, 3 is a real biff. None of our production activates. But this guy might decide, hey, you know what? Let's take out this hallucination. We'll spend an energy. 3, that's the 4. And we'll need a medical. He'll handle it. Boom. Hallucination's gone. That was basically his one improvement action. And go on to the next player. Yeah, so we just keep doing that. In order to win, you have to get through all the threats, both the early and the late. Now, again, when you go to the late, you start rolling 2 dice, and you add the number up. That'd be 8. That'd be great for my focusing lens. But when you get to the improvement phase, you can do an improvement for each die, or you can add them up and do 1 improvement at a higher number. And then for the entire game, you have these 2 distress beacons that you can play to prevent one of the threats from occurring. But you only get 2 of those per game. I gotta say, this is a real pleasant surprise. This is kind of a neat little game. This is one that I might actually want to play all the way through. What do you think? Are you interested in seeing this one on the channel? Let me know. I'd like to thank all the financial supporters of Totally Tabled, including the totally radical Mitch Fisher, Hextra, John Kohler, Scott Myers, and Jay Satterwhite, as well as the totally bodacious Michael Crampton. If you're interested in becoming a member, you can join on YouTube or my Patreon at www.patreon.com/totallytabled. You'll gain access to my new exclusive podcast, Table Talk, as well as unboxing videos and whatever extra stuff I come up with. As always, thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.